Okay, today we're going to be doing Module 4, Lesson 14, where we look at multiplying unit fractions by non-unit fractions. So remember that a unit fraction is any fraction where the numerator is equal to 1, and a non-unit fraction is when the numerator is equal to something bigger than 1, so like 1/2 times 2/3. So here's our first one we're going to work on, which is number 1C. And number 1C says 1/3 of 3/5. So when I think of this, I right away know that of means multiplication. So I am going to multiply these numbers together. But I can also think of this in our rectangular fraction model, because I'm finding 1/3 of 3/5. So I can start by drawing a model that represents my 3/5. I like to think of this almost as like my brownie sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there are my fifths. And I'm going to show 3/5. So like I have 3/5 a pan of brownies. So that right there is my 3/5. Now if I want to find 1/3 of those, I need to figure out how to model this out. So I can just split it into thirds now horizontally. And this represents my 1/3. So I'm looking at 1 of the third, so one of my rows. And you can even color in the whole row if it's helpful for you. And then you can see which are double shaded. But it's one of those rows. So 1/3 of 3/5 looks like it's 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of 15. So I should get 3/15 if I was going to break these all up into even pieces. 1/3 of 3/5 is 3/15. Now I can also think about that in a numerical sentence. 1/3 of 3/5 means 1/3 times 3/5. And when I multiply that straight across, I get 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. So I get 3/15. Now, same answer, which is great. And now I can simplify this because I can see that a 3 goes into my numerator and into my denominator. So I can divide by 3, divide by 3. And I get 1/5. So 1/3 of 3/5 is 1/5. And you might have been able to track the numerical pattern there when you had it broken into fifths and you shaded in 3 of them. That 1/3 of 3 things is just one of them. So it was just always 1/5. Let's try another one. 1/3 of 4/5. So actually a very similar idea. I'm going to draw my brownie pan. And I'm drawing it to represent my 4/5 because this is the same thing as saying 1/3 of 4/5. 3, 4. And I have 4/5 worth of brownies left in my pan. Now I want to find what 1/3 of this 4/5 is equal to. So I'm going to split it into thirds. This makes it all equal pieces. And I can see that 1/3, so one of my 3 rows is this section right here. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's equal to 4 out of 15 pieces. Because I have 4 shaded in. I can even think of it if when I double shade it, it's getting really messy, but it's 4 out of 15. And I can track that with a numerical expression. 1/3 times 4/5 equals 4 3/15. Now, I can't simplify 4/15 because there's no common factors that go into my numerator and my denominator. Factors of 4 are 2, 4, and 1. And factors of 15 do not include 2 or 4. They include 3 and 5 and 15. So 4/15 is my final answer. Okay, so let's look at this in a word problem context. Sarah has a photography blog. 3/7 of her photos are of nature. 1/4 of the rest are her friends. Ooh, there's one of those secret important things. Of the rest are of her friends. What fraction of all of Sarah's photos is of her friends? Support your answer with a model. So for a model, we're going to do a rectangular fraction model. But let's draw what we know. So it starts off by saying 3/5 of her photos are of nature. So if we want to just draw that, I'm going to draw a tape diagram, as always, is my first step for word problems, just to help me understand what's being asked of me. So 3/7 of our nature. So we're going to do sevenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 3 out of these 7 pieces are going to be nature. 1, 2, 3. Nature. 1/4 of the rest are her friends. So this is considered the rest. And they're telling me that 1/4 of this are her friends. So I'm just looking at this section right here. And I want to know 1/4 of that amount. Well, in a fraction equation wise, I can see that the rest of her photos are 1, 2, 3, 4 sevenths. 3/7 are nature, 4/7 are the rest. So when it's asking me to find 1/4 of the rest, I can think of that as 1/4 of 4/7, which is the same thing as 1/4 times 4/7. So I can trickle this down. I can switch out the rest to 4/7, and then I know it's multiplication. And then because I know how to multiply a fraction times a fraction, I can use a rectangular fraction model, or I can multiply straight across, and I can get my answer here. But I can also look at this tape diagram, I think, to help me a little bit more, because it's showing me that there are 4 pieces here, right? There are 4/7. And if 1/4 of them are her friends, that means 1 out of 4, which means that 1 of them should be of her friends. So I think that 1/7 should be of her friends. But let's confirm it with the actual multiplication. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 28ths I can simplify because 4 can be divided by 4 and 28 can be divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Yay. So we're able to show it using our diagram and by also doing the fraction math. And then we're going to look at one more. We might just set this one up. So it says, at Lorita's Bakery, 3/5 of the baked good are pies. So 3/5 are pies. And the rest are cakes. It's another one of those, the rest. So let's draw that just before we even finish the rest of the question. 3/5 are baked goods. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to say 3 of them are baked goods and the rest are cake. So that means that 2/5 are cake and 3/5 are baked goods. So if I continue reading the question where it says 1/3 of the pies. Oh, wait, no. I labeled this wrong. This is not baked goods. This is pies. The whole thing is baked goods. Okay. 1/3 of the pies are coconut and 1/6 of the cakes are angel food. Okay, so 1/3 of the pies are coconut and 1/6 are angel food. And then the question says, what fraction of all the baked goods at Lorita's Bakery are coconut pies. So I can basically ignore, because this is just part A, I can ignore the part about the cakes, which is nice because that's kind of the harder part. 1/3 of the pies are coconut. Well, so I'm just focusing on the pie section. And if I look at this pie section, I have 1, 2, 3 pieces here, right? Because I have 3/5. So if I'm doing 1/3 of 3/5. I can predict from looking at my tape diagram that I think it should just be one of them because it's 1 out of 3. So I think it should be 1/5 our coconut pie. But let's confirm with our mathematical expression here where I have 1/3 of 3/5. So 1/3 of 3/5 because the pies are equal to 3/5. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 5 is 15. And then 3/15 I can simplify by each dividing by 3. So I do get 1/5 and 1/5. Yay. So we're able to do A. B is asking us then which are the angel food cakes. So I would have to then look at the cake section and think, how can I divide this into 6ths? So it might be more helpful to like draw out a new model and divide it into like half and then 1/6, or I could think of like doing 1/6 of 2/5, just like I did here for the coconut pies. So this was our first look at looking at how we do unit fractions and non-unit fractions. We're trying to find fractions of a fraction, and we will continue working on this in class.